here we are, Friday the 30th. We've somehow survived the maximum allowable time I think there ought to be in Vegas, which is approximately 3.5 days. Thank you very, very much for coming here. We sincerely appreciate it. We have fun doing this. It's a ton of work, but it's worth it to us to show you what we've been doing and to get your ideas and your feedback. I think we had all 20 sessions. The vendor fair and exhibit was fun. Dinner show was odd and exciting. I don't think there's any real blood. The cocktail party we had the first night, there was a little bit of blood maybe. We had I think we had a lot of good networking, and I could see that in the buzz at the breakfast tables in the morning, and even just last night. Having been to a lot of trade shows, not just Revelation shows, when you go there for one of these cocktail parties that lasts 2 or 3 hours, there's a buzz about 20 or 30 minutes in, and it disappears about 10 minutes later. And last night it seemed like the room was humming for a good 2.5 hours, which is fantastic. I mean, you don't see that even in the big money shows, unlike little guys like us. We really, really need these meetings that we have with you guys. When we're sitting in the office trying to get as much information from you, our users and our developers, and the source of our ideas, the people that tell us what works, what doesn't work, and what we ought to put into the product, we don't always get it as well as we do when you're standing in the hallway with a cup of coffee talking to someone about what's not working. So we really like having these ideas, you telling us what ought to be there, and the thoughts that are triggered and acted upon. We came in here, I thought that 9.2 was pretty solid for the release that was coming out in, well, hopefully 6 weeks still. But I think we have 7 new pages of notes. Some will obviously push back to the next release, but we're going to put in as many as we can without breaking everything else into the version that should be out in June. So where are we going from here with the releases? We're hoping that 9.2 will be out in May or June of this year. And it seemed really good until we got all those 7 pages of notes, but we'll see what happens from there. The Universal Driver 4.7, the Universal Driver Heavy 4.7 should be out probably the 3rd quarter of this year. Some new enhancements there, including the ability to find out whose lock is it. So from the workstation, you guys should find out whose lock it is. I don't know if we'll get the request in that we had that if we try to do a lock and it drops the else clause, if we can tell you the name of the person who has that lock. We may have that information. We'll see if we can actually put it into the else clause of a fairly basic opcode without breaking anything else in the product. Not that we use locks much anywhere. Open Insight 9 X, which I'm sure will be some sort of update. It'll be a 9.2, 1, a 9.3, a 9.4 something. Ought to be out the end of this year. Hopefully it'll be a Christmas present, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or Festivus, whatever you celebrate in the end of the year. Saturnalia maybe, if you're a Wiccan or a Druid. And then we figure that by the middle of next year we'll have Open Insight 10.0, the 64-bit product. It shouldn't take us that long. We've given ourselves a year. There will be a little bit of, I don't want to say pain, but maybe some changes on your side because we'll probably require some sort of touching of the data on our part when we do the upgrade. Because when we go to 64-bit, we're also going to take advantage of a bunch of the things that we can do with double byte characters, Unicode, and stuff like that that'll be built in behind the scenes. So we will let you know more as that comes up. It'll be as painless as possible because, like you, I have more customers than I have all your customers, theoretically, that we have to worry about. But I have the guy, who's running the cemetery 5 miles from the office who will scream at me if this stuff doesn't go well. And we multiply that by a few 100,000 and it's not real fun. We'll continue to do some road shows between now and the 2011 conference. I have a few coming up in the US. Martin's going to set me up for one in the UK. David and I are working out dates. We'll be down in Australia and New Zealand. We'll be at the user group, the user group meetings for Revelation, Multi-Value, whatever other special interests we do, and the conference in 2011. It will likely be here. The Rio treats us well. The services that we get here are nice. A quick review of what happened this week. I stole some pictures from Nancy's camera. Jared, who's been taking pictures around. Bob Catalana's been taking tons of pictures, but he's a pro. And he has a camera that, I think NASA has to come and interpret his digital images before I can actually show them on a slideshow. And a couple from the guys at SRP. So here's the Rio, this is where we are. I couldn't find any music on my laptop. So This is the guys off the plane eating cheeseburgers, the healthy food of Las Vegas. Alexander measuring the wind for us. This is actually, I don't know what you would call that, it has those tiny little cups on the sticks that spin around. Alexander's measuring the wind. I don't know how long these things are, a couple seconds each. Here's us fighting the wind with alcohol. Apparently it worked. This must be after last call because I'm leaning against the bar. But here's some of the views we got from the top that night. It was a very fun place to look. Here's the back of all your heads in case you're wondering what they look like. There's Martin doing what he's doing now, taping. Oh, that's not here. Martin never shows up at a photograph. He must have, even though he's from the center of England, he must have some part of American Indian in his family lines that believes that he will steal his soul if you take his picture. Because I've only seen, truly, 10 photos of Martin and one video that's on YouTube now. I hear his voice all the time, but you never actually see his face. So this might be a collector's item.